Hi, my name is Tiffany Moore and I'm going to show you how to make Pa-teet-za. So first off, I want to let you know that Pa-teet-za is a nutty roll. And really only nutty women are going to make this nutty roll because it takes 6 hours. Yeah. So if you're going to make this recipe, make sure you give yourself 6 hours. This is made by some masochistic women in Slovenia, and it's going to be demonstrated by moi, in memory of my grandma Pavli, and awesome Pa-teet-za I had when I was at Thanksgiving and Christmas. Now, you might be wondering why that peacock is in the background, but it's really not that big of a mystery if you know Slovenian. Pavli actually happens to mean peacock, and the women in the family who make Pa-teet-za tend to peacock their Pa-teet-za, so to speak. You know how peacocks with the bigger feathers get noticed and then they get mates because they have better feathers? Well, the women in the family kind of say, my Pa-teet-za's better. Mine's cooked better, it's not burnt, hers is too thin, hers is too thick, hers is undercooked. The list goes on. So it's kind of a competition. The first thing you're going to want to do is get your ingredients together. So you're not going to have any time really during the entire process, this whole 6 hours, to really stop and get these ingredients. You need to have them on hand. And these are all the ingredients you do need. Now first, you're going to put in 1 packet of yeast. Then you're going to put in 1 teaspoon of sugar. Then you're going to put in 4 tablespoons of lukewarm milk. Make sure it's not too hot or you will denature your yeast. Stir this together, and what you're going to do is stick it in a warm place where the yeast can kind of activate or rise. You won't really see it rise till it's actually mixed with flour though. Next, you are going to take that yeast after sifting 5 cups of flour and making a little depression and pouring that yeast into it. You're going to take about a tablespoon of that flour from the sides and mix it in with the yeast a little bit. And then you're going to leave that to rise for a little bit. While it's rising, you are going to take some 1.5 cups of lukewarm milk, 1/4 cup of butter, 1/4 cup sugar, 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla, and 3 egg yolks. And you're going to mix this together. When you do mix it together, put it in a bowl, or take that bowl and bring it over to your newly risen yeast. Then you're going to mix these two together. Then you're going to stir them after adding 1.5 tablespoons of salt. Sorry, not 1.5 tablespoons, 1 teaspoon and a half. So, when you finally mix this together, you should see little air pockets here and there, and it should start coming away from the bowl. If this is the case, then you are done. Stop stirring. You don't need to work anymore. Put that spoon down. Then, you're going to cover it with preferably a clean towel and let it rise for about 1 to 1.5 hours. Now, I just want to let you know who I am. My name is Tiffany, and this is me. There's not some Slovenian lady strapped to my refrigerator and cooking this all for me. It is me, for all of those that are in doubt. Alright, so now we're going to work on the filling. What we're going to do is we're going to get a scale because we're going to be weighing some stuff. Make sure you zero it out with whatever you're putting on top. I have a measuring cup there, just for whatever reason. And we're going to add 1/2 pound of honey. So make sure that scale is zeroed. Pour your honey in. Get your 8 ounces. Then you're going to put it in a pan over a stove. The directions suggest over a fire, but I think we're a little bit too advanced for that right now. Then you're going to add 1/2 pint of cream, or 1/2 and 1/2. I added a whole pint. As it turns out, I'm not really sure if it matters, so it's not really an exact measurement. Mine came out a little bit goopy, but it tasted good, so 1/2 is fine. Then you're going to throw in a whole stick of butter, or 1/4 pound. And then it will cool down the mixture after you've removed it from the heat. The butter will melt, and then you can mix it together. Now you're going to chop some nuts. and chop some nuts, and chop some nuts, until you have this big old pile of nuts. Then you're going to weigh about half a pound of sugar. And then you're going to add in a dash of cloves, about a teaspoon of cinnamon, well, it says a teaspoon of lemon, but I added lime. It really doesn't make a difference to me. Now, in this picture, you think, this girl is an alcoholic. She's holding Bacardi. No, I'm not drinking this Bacardi while I'm making it, but it says to add rum. And some people add rum extract, but what's interesting to notice is that the vanilla extract is 41% proof, but the Bacardi is only 40% proof, so really it's no different than the vanilla. And plus I like Bacardi. I added 3 teaspoons instead of 2. Then you're going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Then you're going to grate a lemon, so that about half of a lemon, until the rinds come down into the mixture. And you're going to stir this, and it's going to be a little clumpy and gooey and yummy. You can taste it if you want. It's awesome. Then, after you're done stirring that, you are going to take your egg whites that I didn't tell you to keep before, so if you didn't, I'm sorry. And you're going to beat them. You could do it the old-fashioned way, but I'm lazy, so I used a beater. And you're going to beat them until they're fluffy. So they should kind of stand up like this. And then, you're going to put that on top of the mixture you just made. And it should really stand up on its own, like a big fluffy cloud that kind of makes you want to go skiing. Then you're going to fold it in. If you don't know how to fold, there are some things online that can show you how to do it, but it's not easy to learn. I even screwed it up. If you look, there's the holes there. And, yeah. It's still got some air in it, so it's good. What you're going to do is you're going to cut a hole down, slice down the middle of the fluffy whiteness, and then you're going to scoop under and flip up. And you're going to keep doing this until all of the egg yolk is dissolved. But do not stir it. You will lose all the air you just worked to put in there. Next, you are going to wash your raisins. And this is actually really important, because as I've learned last year in my Spanish class, there's an article called Sun Mad, and it has a picture of the sun maid that you see on the raisin box and a skeleton because of all the pesticides. They say they don't really do that anymore, but I would still wash them just to be sure, even if they do wash off their stuff, because there's probably some left behind. Now, you're going to get a table, and you're going to set it up so that you have a tablecloth on top. But if you saw my table, it's a glass table, so we don't own tablecloths. So I just put a bed sheet over it. You can only imagine my boyfriend's face when he asked why the bed sheet was there. It's going to get even weirder when you say you've got to put flour all over it. So you're going to take some flour and you're going to spread it all over that bed sheet. And make sure you do, because if you don't, you will have a disaster like I had. Then you're going to take the dough that rose, and you can place it in the middle of the table and work it from the inside to the outer edges. And then you are going to spread it out to the sides of the table, as thin as you possibly can. I used a roller because the dough sticks to my fingers, but you can use your fingers if you want. Those holes, they really do make a difference though. Then you're going to put in your sauce, and you're going to spread it evenly over the table. Isn't that pretty? Then you're going to add your raisins and sprinkle them as evenly as you can. Then you are going to roll that tablecloth up, and that's where that flour comes into handy. It will keep it from sticking. You're going to do an up and over kind of roll until your Pa-teet-za becomes a pretty little log. Mine's not so pretty. If you can tell in the back, there's actually a lot stuck to the table. It's quite the disaster. Then you're going to cut the pieces into bread pans. You can also turn it into a ring and make it that way, but it's easier this way. Then you are going to either wash or throw out the tablecloth that you just used, or in my case, bedcloth. We couldn't salvage ours because I tried to use a knife to separate the dough from the cloth and cut it by accident. Now you're going to let this dough rise for about an hour, and then you're going to clean during this period of time. These are my cats, Atlas and Prometheus. They decided to come and help me. And yeah, cleaning. Then you're going to put it in the oven for about 15 minutes, and only 15 minutes, at 375 degrees Fahrenheit. And then after that 15 minutes, you'll have 45 minutes where you can let your dough rise at 300 degrees Fahrenheit. And it'll come out like this. It's super pretty. And all of that craziness, and that 6 hours of work, is for this really, really yummy bread. And you can't see it in this picture, but it is steaming, and it is gooey, and it is good. And it is for all of this that your feet hurt, and that your husband say, pretty good. And you'll sigh, and you'll be like, men. Anywho, that's how you make Pa-teet-za. I hope you enjoyed my presentation.